Hi, my name is Amanda Dyer, and I'm the Assistant Director at the University Art Galleries here at Texas A&M. And I also serve as the curator for the Forsyth Galleries. And today I'm going to talk about one of the pieces within the Forsyth Galleries collections, and we call it the Polar Vase. The Polar Vase is an English cameo vase, and cameo glass is made from a process that layers glass on top of each other as the piece is created, and then someone comes along and scrapes away the outside layers of the glass to reveal the one or more different colored layers that are underneath. And so the Polar Vase is a white on green vase. So it has white glass on the outside that was removed to reveal the green glass underneath. And the color scheme is complementary of the subject matter because it is supposed to be a polar scene. So it's a cold scene. And it's a pretty substantial piece. It's about 16 inches high, and it's about 10 inches in diameter, and it weighs about 10.5 pounds. So it's a pretty hefty. If you look on the bottom of the piece, you can see the word web carved right here, and that is the name of the company that created the vase, Thomas Webb & Sons, and it's an English company. And also, if you look below this polar bear here, you can see G.E.O. Woodall, and that stands for George Woodall, who was a significant member of the creating team there at Thomas Webb & Sons. And George Woodall was the engraver of this particular piece, so he did the physical work on the piece, but the person who is credited for designing it is named Lionel Pierce. And so this particular vase came to the Forsyth Galleries in the late 1980s as part of the Bill and Erna Runyon art collection. The Runyons donated their collection to Texas A&M, and this piece they got when a museum that was associated with Thomas Webb & Sons closed, and they purchased it from that museum closure. So early research on this particular piece indicates that it was a commemorative piece that was done for the polar expeditions of Sir Ernest Shackleton. But if you delve a little deeper into that, it doesn't really make sense because Shackleton didn't get back from his first expedition until 1909, and this particular piece was in a Webb paperwork from 1908. And so that may not necessarily be why it was created. And another clue that discredits the tie to the Shackleton expeditions are the animals that are shown on the piece itself. Because penguins, which you can see right here, are southern hemisphere animals, and they are indigenous to the Antarctic and southern hemisphere. And polar bears, though, which you can see over here, are Arctic animals. And Shackleton only explored the Antarctic, so he wouldn't have seen polar bears on his expeditions. And there's also a really interesting story related to this vase in that there was a second polar vase created by Webb, and factory documentation includes photographs of this other vase that looks very similar to this one, but you can tell that they're not the same vase. And we don't know what happened to that second vase. It could be in someone's private collection. It could have been destroyed, and so it's kind of missing, and it would be interesting if it ever turned up, that if we could compare the two and see if their similarities and their differences. And so further research might actually uncover that missing vase, and it might be able to tie that vase, this vase, and that vase and this vase to the polar expeditions of the early 20th century. And that would be really interesting. The Polar Vase is one of over 1,400 pieces of glass that we have here at the Forsyth Galleries, and therefore it's not always on display, but you can check our website or give us a call and get some information on when you could see this piece in person.